not right. It's not right. It's like, it's such an injustice how some of these teachers are being treated. I mean, you got teachers, like, it's normal now. We normalizing teachers being hit, kicked, bit, slapped. Like, that's not okay. The amount of stories, and like, y'all normalizing it because they got a 504 or IEP. Last time I checked, you should be able to slap your teacher because it don't say you can slap your teacher in your IEP.
Did you hear about the teacher that was dealing with special needs kids, and the kid literally put her in the hospital because she tried to calm him down. He was having an episode. She was like, hey, let's go calm down. Let's go to another room. Let's isolate from other kids. And this kid had a history of also hurting other students. So she tried to separate them. And she called for help. And by the time people walked into the classroom, she was on the ground, like, was unresponsive. She had a concussion. She had to have surgery again.
That was my first 3 years of teaching and why I almost left, because it was like, every year I would have, you had like 20 really amazing kids that were sweethearts. And then you had one kid that went through a lot of childhood trauma and therefore had a lot of behavioral issues.
And like, that happened. Sorry, I just wanted to clarify that. Like, if teachers had the supports in place to deal with those kids, that would be a completely different story. Like, the kids having those trauma is not their fault, but like, teachers don't even have the supports to deal and help those kids,
because that was hard for you, kid.
I had multiple of those. Like, it wasn't just like one specific kid, but like, to have that as your first year teaching experience, you're all excited to be a teacher and like, this is my passion, and then getting hit, kicked, punched, scratched. I had my wrist. I went to school with two sprained wrists.
To me.
So it was like December, and one of my students, like, he had a breakdown at the end of the day and was like throwing desks and chairs and flipping everything. And he was 7 years old. This was in second grade.
Yeah.
And I hadn't been like trained in any kind of like holds or anything. So I'm standing in my room, and I had an evacuation plan for my students. So like, when this kid had any kind of like behavior like that, I would send them to the class next door. They'd go sit by her board. And I got too close to him, and I turned my head to look at the door, and the other teacher next door was like, Lauran, watch out. And he like grabbed my wrists and twisted them backwards. And like it sounds ridiculous that a 7-year-old was able to do that, but like,
they're strong.
When they're angry like that, and they're like in that almost like seeing red phase, and they can't control themselves. Yeah. It's,
and you had to go to the hospispittal after that, didn't you? Did you have to get stuff on your wrist?
Well, the thing is, I didn't know anything about being, when you get assaulted at work and you're supposed to fill out like workman's comp and all. I was brand new. I didn't know.
Right.
And so I went to my own doctor and got like, I guess it was a diagnosis or whatever. About, he said, you have 2 minor sprains in both your wrists. And so I just had to keep them wrapped. Like, I didn't have like a cast or anything like that.
Was that student back in your class? Like,
no, he was not for a little bit, but like then came back.
Right.
But for a little bit.
Yeah, for a little while. But like I went back to work, and I gave them the documentation, and they were like, well, you didn't go to our doctor.
And how was you supposed to know that?
And I'm like, no one told me. Right. No one told me what I was supposed to do. And I had to teach with 2 sprained wrists because I was a brand new teacher. I had 3 sick days built in my bank. Like, teaching second grade, trying to write with 2 sprained wrists. Are you kidding me?